So our strategy is to try to make it so it's easy to donate. Our donation centers are as ubiquitous as gas stations if we can do it. We try to make it so it's really easy and available. Our stores make it really easy, so if you can find a store or a donation center to donate in. And then, of course, we try to make it easy once you get there, quick. We have a 10-second rule where the donor is supposed to be addressed within 10 seconds. So what our strategy is try to make it as painless as possible and as obvious and easy as possible. We have a fairly significant series of reports where we measure everything from how many donors come in and when they come in, to how they get to the stores and when they get to the stores, and how they get produced in the store and out on the store floor. We measure all of that to make sure that it's moving fairly quickly. We try to get donations out of the donation center and into the store within 24 hours or less. Sometimes it's less. And we try to get them then out on the store floor in another 24 hours or less. So theoretically, something donated at a store could be on the store floor the same day. There's actually several parts of Goodwill that have to do forecasting, but my responsibility being for sales, store sales, and donations. You can't really forecast donations except to say historically we've grown this much, so we'll probably continue to grow that much. So that's pretty much a standard linear kind of a forecast. But store sales are a little different in terms of when we add a new store, we know about what it's going to do in the first month, and then the second all the way through the first 12 months we know about what it should do. Yes. The forecasting area? Yeah, we've been very fortunate. In the last 5 years, we've actually forecasted less than we've seen. It's been we thought we were going to be at one number, and we came in significantly past that. This year is the first year where we got a little more aggressive with our same store sales, and so far in the year, mostly because of the way our budget was laid in, we are under. We're seeing about a 1.5% deviation off our budget right now for February. For January, we were on target. February, we've been a little bit lower. We do not employ Lean Six Sigma as in the traditional sense. What we do a couple of things. One is we implement a Kaizen standard, which is basically a continuous improvement kind of a standard within our stores. The other thing we tend to do is we operate a little bit like an ISO standard. We don't have those. There are Goodwills who are beginning to get ISO certified where you put in your standardization like we have. We put that in place, lock it in, and then we measure ourselves and get audited by the ISO group on a regular basis. I think as time goes on, we'll probably do that and become formal about that. Right now, we audit ourselves and operate as a self-audit check in terms of what we're doing. So I think we're moving in that direction. Once it gets to the store, that's where most of the quality control comes in place. We have both hangers and sorters, and then people who go through the hard goods and people go through electronics. They check everything, test it, plug it in, and to the best of our ability make sure things are working. So all of that happens in our back room. And those folks are trained on a regular basis, both by the store managers, who themselves are trained, as well as by our management. Internally, we have one person, soon to be two, that actually go around and make sure there's a standardization in those areas. Had you asked that question 10 years ago when I came to Goodwill, the answer was yes. Now the answer is no. We've gone through two major decentralization processes. One was what I call the front-end decentralization, where we added more donation centers and more store donation centers. All the stores had them, but they were added to the front of the stores where it was easy to donate, so that there is no centralized process. In other words, a donor doesn't go to some central location and then get distributed back out. Inventory for us is an interesting thing, where you would know at some retailers how many shirts and pants and shoes and belts and things you ordered, and be able to try to track them. With us, every day is a new day, and we never know exactly what we're going to get. So inventory control for us tends to be more bulk oriented rather than we have exactly 57 shirts. We pretty much know how many donors we had, and our control really starts within the processing in the back of the store. Once we've then processed them, we're able to count how many items are actually going out on the floor. We know exactly how many went out on the floor. We're able to compare that to how many were sold, and we're able then to find out how many walked out, which we do have that same problem just like anybody else, and how many didn't sell. Stock in general low in a store, we would respond to that by trying to move donations from another donation center that might not have originally been targeted for that store. In other words, we just try to bring the donations in instead of sending it somewhere else. Stock inside the store itself, that's another matter, where inside on the floor we might be short of khaki pants or something else. During every day there's a quality and quantity check that's done, where we see what the quality is of the item and what the quantity is, and if there's a need for that, we can focus on it. We can actually go and focus on the khaki pants or the jeans, women's blouses of certain colors and things like that, and try to get them processed so we can try to increase the number of those that are on the floor. So we do both of those things. Theoretically, every nonprofit has a mission or an objective that is altruistic and good and helpful to someone. That would be the idea. So there's a commonality there. We tend to be more focused on trying to help people get jobs, get qualified for jobs, keep jobs, whatever it takes. We're job related. What we've done over the last 10 years is put together a management team that manages Goodwill like a business, so that we're very much focused on making sure we make what would be considered in the profit world profit. But it doesn't benefit a board or doesn't benefit a shareholder or a stockholder. It benefits the missions. We're able to do more. In other words, what our objective is, and has been, is to have Goodwill be able to fund all of our operations through the store sales and through what happens in donated goods. We were supposed to be able to get that done before 2013. We beat that goal by about 3 years, to where we were actually able to be self-funding, so that someone donates money today to Goodwill, it'll go directly towards our mission. It won't be to keep the lights on or to pay my salary or anybody else's salary. That was an objective we had, and that's different, I think, than most nonprofits.